Now this tube, give it a little squeeze, make sure that there's no blockages or anything in it. It's the water gap there, that's where it starts to come out. You'll notice that there's 3 holes which go down. As you can see, it comes out there, right in the corner. There's a hole there. It's because I took out one of the drain plugs. That drain plug allows the water to go somewhere. Got a few leaks on your Mercedes SL. Have a look at this. It might just help you out.
Let's move on, 'cause it's time to move on.
Just start with a nice easy one. Your petrol filler flap. Inside there's a little hole, so get a nice bit of flexible wire and just feed it through. Quite often this gets filled up. It's a good idea to just pour some water down there, and if it's clear then you'll notice it coming up. So simply test it by just pouring a bit of water, and if it's nice and clear, and that's the exit hole just there. So staying at the back of the vehicle, you'll notice that there's 3 holes which go down here, and these often get blocked up, and this is the channel that when the rain trickles along here, comes down into the trunk area, it has somewhere to go. And likewise, if you pour water in here once you've cleaned it, this time it comes out of the rear of the wheel and it runs down inside the liner. The same idea, here's the one on the other side of the vehicle. Just give it a little poke. They're easy to get blocked up, so pour a bit of water and you should see it coming out the back there. There we go. And whilst we're at the back of the vehicle, pay attention to the gap between the 2 rubbers. Get a cloth, run all the way along and make sure that there's nothing there which is stopping the water from using this channel. This white stuff I got in here, by the way, is just a bit of lubricant which I'm just rubbing in, and you can pour some water in there and check that as well. And whilst you're doing that, just here there's a little hole there, and what it does, it picks up this tube which is underneath the vehicle here, and this will run all the way out through the back. If you have a look at my other video below, the reason I've got this slightly, looks like it's raised from there, is because I had water trickling over the top, and by making sure that this is nice and flat and it hasn't concaved in, it actually has given me a better, tighter seal when it goes to the underside of the boot there, or trunk. So if you have a look at that video, if you're getting telltale signs of water coming in here, it's more than likely the fact that you've got this water trickling in there. So have a look at what I've done. It's a great little mod, and it could just save your car getting all soaked in the trunk. Importantly though, underneath here there's a little hole which runs all the way down. Now this tube, give it a little squeeze, make sure that there's no blockages or anything in it, and you can see that it runs out down the back. Now if you put water in this gap here, it's a little bit tricky, but again it will come out down the liner of your rear wheel. But let's give that a go. And that's the water gap there, that's where it starts to come out. So look for the rear of your wheel to make sure that the 2 tubes on either side of the vehicle are clear, and that the water is running through. Now let's have a look at the one underneath the spare wheel. Very important. You can see down here I've got some water, but as I mentioned before, one of the most important things you can do if you've got a Mercedes SL is the following. Is underneath the little polystyrene toolkit, see the water I've got in here, look. Just here. This is one of the most important things you can do. There's a hole there, and the reason there's a hole is because I took out one of the drain plugs. There's a drain plug at the back. That drain plug allows the water to go somewhere. Now I'm parked on a slight hill, which is why I got a bit of water here, but if I was level, that water has now got an exit. It doesn't allow water in because underneath it there's a heat shield, and no water is going to splash in. I've never had any problems with that, but importantly it lets the water go somewhere if you have problems like this where there's water in the trunk. And just here, this little sensor, if you listen, that there was my alarm that went off, and it's because I got water in there, and it serves exactly the purpose that I wanted, was to give me that early warning to go and have a look at the seal. Okay, so that's the rear of the vehicle. These are all the areas I've found over the years that if you keep them nice and clear, make sure that the water drains away, you shouldn't have any problems with any water or leak in your trunk. Right, let's get to the front of the vehicle and I'll show you a couple of other things which could save you a lot of grief. So this vent on the passenger side in the UK, in the States it's going to be obviously on the driver's side. This is actually open to the elements and the rain will pass straight through here. It can often fill up, and I'll show you how you clear the vent. Okay, so what you want to do, you can just pull the tab on the right hand side here, just push it in and it'll pop up, and there's one just on the other side as well. Just push that in and that will just lift up. Okay, now importantly, when you look inside here, it should be nice and dry. Now I've had this once before where the water has come all the way up to here, and what it did, the water went up and over the bulkhead into the vehicle and it caused the carpets to get wet. So down at the bottom it's very hard to see, but there is actually a drain hole. Okay, so a little tip is just raise the bonnet in the fully vertical position. All you do is push in this little flap, hold the bonnet, bring it down slightly and then lift, and it will go all the way to the lock-in position. We're now in the fully upright position. You can get your head and see right down inside with your torch. Okay, so with a little bit of wire just in here, you can just poke that down and you'll find at the bottom, it's hard to see, but if you give it a prod, yeah, it's gone down now. That in there, right in the corner, at the bottom of it, there's a drain hole. And if you got it right, when you pour your water in there, it should flow out the bottom, just like this. As you can see, it comes out on the rear side of the front wheel arch, through the liner. The other area I know is just in here. There's a little gap here. It's quite a large gap, it doesn't often get filled up, but nevertheless make sure that this is clean, because you can also find that this will get blocked up, water then starts to flow and goes back on itself, and it can then end up getting down through the middle there, and if that's blocked, that can give you issues as well. So likewise, just pour a little bit of water and I'll show you where this comes out. And again, it comes out in the same place. There you go, you can see there's a good example here. I've got these leaves that are built up. It's not too much of a problem, but over time that can cause you a problem. And here's the vent on my side, which is in the UK. On the right hand side for the driver's side, it's nice and clear as well. Incidentally, here's the vent on the driver's side. It is in the UK. This doesn't go anywhere, but there is a little drain hole just here. I'll push my piece of wire through. There you go. But that just, this is the sensor, the light sensor, and the water will run through into the engine. I'll show you how. So here's that same vent hole here coming out. That's the water hole, sorry. And then it goes down into the bottom. And then it matches up down here, and then the water simply just runs through. You wouldn't get very much in there, but nevertheless, just to make sure that that's nice and clear too. Really hope that helps you. So if you're one of those wonderful people that actually managed to get to the end of this video, thank you so much. And if you subscribed, amazing. That's so kind. You got to remember, these cars, whether you got an SL 350, SL 500, whatever, the R230s and the ones after it and the ones before it, They're old cars, however, they were built to some standard back in the day. And it always amazes me, a car which they didn't even have Bluetooth back in the day when these things were made. And yet there we are, giving a little bit of TLC, cleaning these little drain holes here and there. And they still go, they still work. And that's what I love about them, is just, they were so well engineered. You got to give elders a little bit of respect. So all these little tips and things that I try and give are purely down to the fact that they're getting on a little bit. Doesn't mean that they are gone and past their best though. They are still phenomenal cars. Drop it below, really appreciate it. If there's other areas that you think I could have a look at in terms of leaks, or you've had problems with, I'd love to know. So maybe you can let me know down below. My name's Groovan. I do loads of stuff, generally on Mercedes and Range Rover and Honda. And I do a lot of diagnostic stuff. So have a look at this playlist at the end. It might just get you out of trouble. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
Let's move on, 'cause it's time to move on.